What's up, y'all? Welcome to episode 3 of the Wiretap. Um, Again, I appreciate everybody who has been supporting and reaching out and letting me know again on the good things that I've done and the things that I should be working on as I move forward. So, tonight we have an interesting topic, and I have someone joining me tonight via Instagram Live. And we're going to talk about dating in 2023 and what comes with it these days. We have some questions, topics about the current climate and how it's been moving. I really think you guys are going to enjoy this. I was going to wait till about 9:05, but Candace, I'm about to give you a call. So let me see. How do I do this? All right.
Hey, hey,
Hey,
hey.
hey, there she
How are
is.
you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. It's funny. I was about to grab some wine too, but I was like,
Oh, you should have.
I'm a chill. So I got some water.
I feel like this is
I
about to be
got some
interesting.
water. I agree.
So
I definitely
that's what I
agree.
was like. I'm gonna need this. Definitely gonna
And
need it.
it was interesting that I didn't think I needed to have wine.
Uh, cause you
So
got some
I got
some.
a lot of stuff to say, but I'm gonna just wait my turn.
So
I'll wait my turn.
I've already let them know that we will be discussing dating in 2023 and
Or the lack of.
or the lack of, and we've already discussed certain questions. And I also have an interesting one, and I want to start off with that one. So before we get into what we talked about, I'm not sure if you've seen the viral video of the young man who gets upset with the young lady that he flew out, and
Yes.
he got upset, and I guess told her she had to leave and did all this other stuff.
Right.
And I just had a discussion with someone about the responsibility of um, understanding, like, if someone is doing too much or like spending too much money on you, that might be a red flag.
Okay, so I have two different opinions. I feel two different ways. I
Okay.
feel ultimately, I feel a woman can choose to or to not have sex with the man, right?
Facts.
I also feel that if the man is, unless there was an agreement beforehand, the
Mm-hmm.
man is kind of risking, like, okay, this may happen. I have to be okay if it happens, but I also have to be okay if it does not happen, because it's a lot of underlying things, like, have we been talking for a while and we already talking about sex a little bit, and then you fly me out and it's like, all right, bitch, you was talking that now. It's time. Or is it something like we was just talking and you was like, oh, you trying to go to Jamaica? I'm like, sure. That doesn't mean I really owe you anything.
Facts. And
But
I
then
complete I completely agree with you. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
and then the flip side of that is just like, okay, if you're going out of the country, you know what is bound to happen. But ultimately, we have a right to say no. We don't have to. Things, Bob could not be right. It just could not be a good situation.
And I completely agree with you 100%. And that was my thought process about the situation. I said, well, one, we really don't know the context of it because we weren't there. All we have is this little clip.
Right.
Two, uh, like you said, if it wasn't communicated, like, hey, these are the reasons why I want you here, and he's the dummy for spending his money.
Exactly.
Three, and one thing I didn't even think of, like, she could change her mind.
Right.
She could have every intention on coming out there to do what y'all talked about, but then, like you said, the vibe might be off, and she's like, nah, I'm good. I don't want to do
Right.
this.
Because I have, and especially the type of woman, maybe some women may can turn it off and just be down ready for it. But ultimately, I have talked to men on the phone, and we was cool on the phone. Like I was like, oh, I like him, and I met him in person. Like, no, I don't like him. I don't like him. I don't like him. But over the phone and the internet, like I'm sitting here like, oh, he cool. I like him. He cute. And in person, I'm like, bitch, this ain't it. I
Right,
don't know
right,
what
right.
happened. So, like you said, it definitely just depends. But ultimately, at the end of the day, we can say no at any time. Even
Yes.
if we're in there in a bed, I can
Right
just
before
change
he
my fucking
about to
mind.
stick it in, you could be like,
Exactly. I could
no.
be like, hell no, nigga, I changed my mind. And another thing is when you are being flown out, make sure you have your own money to fly back if need be.
Yes.
Because if something like that happens, men can be petty and be like, oh, well, find your own way home. All right, bet. Like,
Right,
I
right,
can find my own way or I can stay here for another few days. Like,
right,
just don't go nowhere, don't have no
right.
money. And that's anywhere, local or international.
And that's another thing I'm in agreement with as well, because it's like, again, you don't know what he gonna do. You don't know if he gonna just be
Exactly.
like, you know what, you stuck. And that's happened to I can't remember what rapper did that to somebody, but that actually happened to a young lady. She flew out there, something went wrong, and he made her catch her own flight back. She was stuck at the airport for like 14 hours or something crazy like that.
Yeah,
But
so
yeah,
I always travel, even locally. Like I would never go on a date and know I can't afford the place, or know like, oh, this is not a good week for me. I can't go here because what if you be like, oh, bitch, I'm not paying for this? Like you don't like something I said, now you about to leave, leave me with the
yes, you're
bill?
absolutely right.
Like no,
It
you
could go
know,
south like that. But like I said, when I was in the conversation, I said if he was really a baller, it would have been no problem to send her back. It has just been like, you know what, I apologize. I thought my intentions were clear. Here I'm gonna fly something else up. That's simple.
simple. If
Right,
you really was getting it. And
right,
like the key thing you just said is communication. Like you can't assume the girl was just automatically knowing she about to give you something. Like you can't just assume that.
exactly. All right, let's get into it. So, like I said, we're here to talk about dating. And my first question: should we separate dating from courting, and how do we communicate that with potential partners? You go first. Ladies
After
first.
I Googled the difference because I had to do my research. Because and that is actually sad that I really had to dig a little deeper, but I wanted to have an informed answer for you. So, like we talked about, like courting was kind of back in the day. You need to ask my dad, like, hey, I like your daughter. I want to get to know her. I want to take her a little more serious. Like, I'm trying to get this wedding planned. That's courting versus dating is showing interest in multiple people. I think your intentions have to be clear, and what we're doing here definitely has to be clear because, like me personally, I date like one guy at a time because for me, if all these energies are involved, how do I know if I really like you?
Right,
Like if I'm dating Tom, Dick, and Harry, I'm getting a little piece of you all. I don't. My mind isn't really clear on what I really like or who I really like.
right,
So I definitely think we need to make it clear and upfront. But I think a lot of people can't do that because they're afraid of what's going to happen. Like, oh, if I tell this girl I'm dating 10 other women, now she's not going to date
right,
me. So
right,
that's when men start lying. Or vice versa, women. I can't tell this guy I'm dating 10 other guys because he may not take me serious. So I definitely think that we should communicate what we're really trying to do.
right. So, like I was telling you before, I think at one point in time, dating and courting were the same. Like they were one thing. And like you said, that was back in the day when, like, if Mr. Henry was into Shirley, he had to go
Right.
ask Mr.
Not
Leroy,
Shirley. Right.
right? Mr. Leroy, I want to date your daughter. Usually that situation manifested itself into a marriage. Like, I think if we had some type of statistic, we could probably see that we would probably see more high school sweethearts back in those days because, again, if I'm coming to your parents, like that's a big deal. We do it the
Right.
other way now. It's like we
Exactly.
got to get serious with the person, and then they meet
Then
our
meet the
parents.
parents.
Right. Back
Exactly.
then, it was like, hey, Mr. Leroy, I like that gal of yours, and I would like to take out. And
Right.
if he said yes, it was a green light. And if he said no, that's what it was. And maybe y'all snuck around.
Exactly.
But I feel like, to be honest with you, I feel like my dad's generation, which is, what's that, Generation X? So that's like the people born between 1970 to 1980. I think they really started the casual dating thing, because I
Agreed.
think at some point when women started gaining more rights and stuff, and realizing that they were individuals and not just women that had to be wives or wives, pretty much. That, like, they had other options. I think that kind of started the whole casual dating, because if you're working all the time, or if you're like a single mom or something, your household comes first. So
Exactly.
sometimes you can't just take somebody seriously, or if you're just interested in trying to figure
Right.
yourself out, who knows? I think as we become more accepting in individuality, we also understand, like, okay, I can date, but I don't have to necessarily take this person all the way serious. But like you said, as long as you communicating that, because if me as a man, if I believe I'm courting you, then there's probably some what's the word I'm looking for? Like exclusive. Like I might believe we're
Exactly.
exclusive the whole
Right.
time. It's like, nah, like she doing her, or vice versa. You get what I'm saying? She may think I'm courting her because of my actions, but the whole time I got a
You
roster.
courting everybody.
Right.
You courting
So I think
everybody.
you definitely have to be able to have a conversation with anybody you potentially dating about your intentions, like we said earlier, intentions on what you're doing. And for the most part, at least in my history, I found that being upfront about what I'm doing, it worked. Because if the person interested, they interested. That's just what it is. Some people felt like I gave them a choice, and don't get me wrong, sometimes people said no. Like, I'm not, I'm looking to date just one person. I don't want to date someone that's dating multiple people. And you got to kind of give them that respect. You get what I'm saying? Like, on both sides, like, as
Right.
men and women, whatever y'all communicate with these potential partners, I think if you truly respect them and value your own time, because at the end of the day, that's what you're
That's
wasting.
right.
Not just their
Right.
time, but you got to think your own time,
Right.
something you can't get back. So it's like, yeah, like, just be upfront about what you're doing. And
Someone posted and said people confuse dating with sex, and that is a fucking
that
fact.
too.
Fucking and dating are
Yes,
not the
not the
same
same. Nope.
thing. It
That's
is
that's all.
not the same thing
That's also
at all.
that's also actually that's one of the topics we're going to talk about. Well, as far as actually that's actually in the next question. Well, no, it's three, but we're going to pretty much touch on that subject. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, please let your partners know if you're pursuing them to be exclusive or if you're just dating. You'll be surprised at how many people are okay with that. And if someone says no, who knows? Maybe you dodged a bullet. I don't know.
Right.
But
Because I also think, last thing about this is some people right now are just settling with dating everyone because it's like the thing. Like, no one is taking anyone serious right now. Like,
right,
so I think some people are just settling, like, oh, if I don't settle for this, I may miss out on having someone just
right,
because I want one.
right.
So I think like everyone is just settling because just to have someone.
So it's almost like them casting a fishnet to grab a whole bunch of people, and then in that they just figure out which one.
Just whatever lands here tonight is
Yeah.
just what it is. What it is.
Okay. So question number 2, which I had to explain. But somebody did tell me the wording was a little, so, and I'm gonna explain. Should there be a red flag system that holds you accountable while dating something similar to a 3-strike rule? So what I meant by that was, from my own personal experience, when I was just out there, I ended up with a son, right? Initially, I'm grateful for my son. I love my son to death. But that wasn't my intentions with this person. I believe if I had a set of rules that I would have followed, that situation wouldn't have created what it created. Again, I'm grateful for my child. But what I'm saying is, when when you start seeing certain red flags or certain issues you having with a person, sometimes we tend to ignore it for the benefit of the situation, whether it be sex, they got that, well, for a man, it'd be because she got her own place or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we'll ignore that. So do you think when you're out here just dating, right, not courting, but dating, that you should have a system in place to say, you know what, this is a red flag for me. I'm gonna just bow out gracefully and move on, or
Most definitely.
or even for yourself, where you might be in a situation that you thought you was ready for, but you could be accusing the person of something, or they could be doing something that triggers you, but in logical sense, it makes sense for them to do. You get what I'm saying? So it's like,
So, yeah, definitely. I
so,
think that you should leave after the first time. I don't think there's no strikes. You don't get three strikes, you out. I think the first thing, especially depending on the thing, but if it's that much of a thing that it raised the red flag, that's enough. Because people are who they are.
that's true.
And they do thing one today. You may say something, but because that's who they are and what's in them, they're going to do it. It's going to manifest itself in some other way at some other time. So I definitely think that you have to leave after the first time. I would not have wasted 10 years of my life if I listened to that. And I preach
Right.
that. I preach that. I talk about that. I try to teach my daughter that. You leave after the first time, because if you don't, there's going to be a second time, there's going to be a third time, and then all this time has passed and you just your
Right.
life has
Yeah.
got it ahead of you. And then the second part of that is for myself. I have to leave when there's a familiar feeling.
Okay.
So, like you just said, if I'm triggered because you're not answering your phone ringing off the hook, and we sitting at dinner but you're not answering, that's going to trigger
Right.
me. So I now know I'm not really
Right.
ready, because if I was ready to date or to be in this environment right now, that shouldn't be triggering me like that. Or it may be like, this is the ick, but this is not the same, But if it's something where I feel it's so intense, I know I have to remove myself before I become toxic to someone else because of someone else,
Right.
you know?
So do you think, okay, so I guess that spawns another question. So do you think that, so if you're at red flag, that's something that can't be talked through. If
Mm-hmm.
you're at that point, because sometimes I feel like certain red flags are just like things I'm just making up in my own head. Like for instance, if like you said, if the person has done something that's familiar in another situation,
Right.
right? But let's say that phone call was his little sister calling because she wanted something to eat,
Right.
or like they go a whole day without texting you, but something was wrong with the phone and they couldn't get in contact with you.
Right.
Now I understand your logic if it's someone you're giving a second chance to, because it's like you have a history of this is happening again, and no, I'm not about to deal with this.
Well, that part was more so the accountability piece, the second half of the question.
Right.
Holding myself accountable
Right.
is, if your phone is ringing off the hook, like you said, that could be normal. My daughter will call me 500 times till I answer it. But if it brews up something inside of me so intense
Right.
that it's bothering me, that's when I know I need to take a step back. So
Okay.
I'm not projecting my toxicity, because that's exactly what that is. I mean, it's PTSD, but if a person didn't exhibit those behaviors to me, like, I can't put my shit on them.
That's true.
So
I
the
I
first
agree
part
with
of the
that.
question was definitely, I just leave after the red flag. No, that wouldn't be a red flag, because like you said, something could really be wrong with their phone. But every day around the same time, the same pattern,
Right.
that's a red flag. Because it's like, nigga, your
Okay.
sister not calling every day for
That's
something to eat
facts.
every day all day.
That's facts. Yeah, I can agree with that. I was just saying, at least in my experience with dating, certain things that crossed my mind that I was like, I might have been like, all right, let's see if I can express myself about what
Right.
happened,
Mhm.
and I will give you the chance, especially like I said, if it's a new person, I feel like I do owe them the grace of communicating, like, yo, what you're doing, that's bothering me. And if it continues, then I'm out of here.
Right.
And
I
then
agree.
and then if they continue, then it's like, all right, I'm out of here. But if the habit changed, then that's cool. But what I was also speaking to was the fact of like I like your logic of when the red flag comes up, you just dip. But I feel like for me, that would only be with someone I'm giving another chance to, meaning like even if it's the person I'm just getting to know, if I've already addressed something and I'm giving you another chance and that flag comes up again, then it's like, yo, I'm gone. Because clearly you don't understand.
Mhm.
Or if I'm getting back with a person that did something wrong to me and that habit is still there, then yeah, I'm not even about to talk to you about it. I'm out of there. So that's all I was saying. That was my
But then
viewpoint.
I think also that's when you have to tap into your gift of discernment or something like you know when someone's playing with you. You
Oh yeah,
know.
yeah,
Like
definitely.
you have to listen to your gut because if I meet you today and we talking all day tomorrow, we talking all day the next day, then the weekend come and you just unavailable all weekend, you know if this is like, oh, they just busy or this nigga playing. Like, you know. So
Yeah,
also you have to use your discretion to what your gut tells you. Like your gut, that would be my advice.
yeah,
To the red flags, listen to your gut. If your gut tell you the nigga is fucking playing with you, or the girl is playing with you, you listen to that. Because it's normally right.
yeah. 9 times out of 10, you
Normally
are
it's
right.
right. It's
Yeah,
definitely right.
right. I agree. All right. So my next question is, and this also stems from my love child, my oldest. What should be the rules of your casual dating for your dating partners or partner and yourself? You think you need to have rules? Is like, hey, if we're just casually, and then when I say casually dating, I definitely mean sex. Um, I remember there was a conversation I had with an older lady about my situation, and she was like, "Well, what did you do?" And I'm like, "What you mean?" Like, I was up front. I told her like, "This is just A B C D E F G," and she like, "Nah, nah, nah. I know what you said, but what did you do?" I'm like, I stayed the night a
Took
couple
out the
of
dinner.
times.
Mm-hmm.
I, you know, cooked, like took out the dinner.
So y'all was dating, but your
Right.
intentions was to fuck,
Mar- Which
not date.
I which I was upfront about, but I didn't understand that my actions suggested something else. See, in my mind, again, I was younger and I was trying to benefit from the
Right.
situation. So, in my mind, I wasn't. As long as I told you what it was, that's all I cared about. Because then it's like if you came back to me and was like, yeah, so you acting funny, and I'd be like, oh, we not in a relationship. I
But
told you
you was
that from
just
Jump
over
Street.
here cooking. You was over here cooking and taking out this trash. So
Right,
you were in a relationship.
right. So it's like, oh, okay. So when the like that older lady, explained the situation, she was
Mm.
like, you was doing too much. You should have kept it like what you said. You said y'all was doing that, and that's what it should have been. It shouldn't have been no staying the night. It shouldn't have been um, no long walks,
Right.
no deep rooted conversations and things like that. And I didn't understand that at the time until she actually, my cousin
That
just say
is
that's just
being
being a
a
gentleman.
gentleman. You're right.
But
But still,
yeah,
if
but
that's not what your
sometimes,
intentions
yeah,
are,
sometimes people can't separate that. Some people don't know what that looks like, Neil, and they can definitely get their lines blurred.
so I definitely think that there should be some type of understanding.
Right.
Like there should definitely be some clear, because I had a partner that I would call when I just want to have sex. But then he wants to bring me food every time. I'm like, no, no, thank you. You don't got to do that. So I think that as long as you're being clear, like it could work. It could work, but I don't think everyone is just really honest and upfront because a lot of people want everything they want. And sometimes the only way to get that is to lie because because everyone can't handle the truth. Like some women say, like, oh, they want be real with me, be real with me, be real with me. I respect you more, but then you be real with them, then they ready to leave. When it's something that, like, yo, you really agree. You said this is okay if I'm honest. Now I'm honest, and you talking about you trying to leave. You don't want to talk to me no more.
You know what's crazy? As soon as you said that, I thought about that scene in Baby Boy when Jody told Yvette,
Right.
he was like, you know, I fuck hoes, but I love you.
Right.
And I was like, what?
Like, I always say, like, I feel like the most player men are the one that can tell the truth and still get the women, but it's none of that anymore. Like, you have to lie because the women walk around saying, and vice versa. You know, I want the truth, I want the truth, I want the truth. But then when you get the truth, you really can't handle the truth that you were begging for. Like, you couldn't handle it.
That's true. I mean, that ironically, yes, that's
right.
true.
And it goes both ways, not just, it goes both ways. Like,
right.
And regardless of what that truth is, even if the truth is, like you said, you was cooking and cleaning every day, but you don't want no girlfriend. So when it all came down to it, you said you did all these things, but you don't want no girlfriend. So when she came, she had to respect that. Like, yeah, he did all this, but he didn't want a girlfriend. Like, he already told me that.
Exactly.
Right. You definitely don't have to stay. Yeah. So no, the point isn't that you would stay. It's just the point that, like, respect. Don't dog a man or dog the woman because they told the truth. Like, I know women be like, "Oh, just tell me, I won't be mad." Then you tell them, and you done got a book upside your head because you told them the truth.
Right.
So I just think we all need to be honest both ways.
So
definitely, by no means, you do not have to stay if your values are not being respected or you are being not treated how you want to be treated.
Right. So first and foremost, with that rule, if you do have a set of rules, honesty. Always keep the honesty
Always.
between you and the people you're dating. I think another thing too is, like we said, we separated dating from courting. So if you're just dating, we say honesty, and I also think that you have to be responsible of, like, people's time with it. Again, not just yourself, but them too, as well. You also have to be responsible with people's time. I would also say don't overload people with emotions. You get what I'm saying? Like, don't sit there and whisper, sweet. Like, you can't just say the same thing to everybody.
What I was just about to say too. Like, be mindful that people have feelings, and if you're dating someone, if you're taking me out every single week and we're texting every day, nigga, we are almost in a relationship.
Right.
Like, we are literally almost in a relationship. So don't 2 weeks later you want to know why. What they say? Why you being weird to me? Like, don't be surprised when I'm starting. Like, why you answering my phone call? Because we talking every day, all day.
Right.
Like, I think that we do have to be realistic with ourselves, and we're humans, and we do form feelings, and sometimes don't, like you said, don't whisper sweet nothings on my phone all day if you're not really about that life. Like, you're not really down with that right now. Like, don't.
Right. And I think, like you said, when people want what they want, sometimes they fall into that. And sometimes it's crazy because it's like you want what you want, then you get it, and then you just start, like you said, start being weird.
Right.
And it's like you could have been upfront about that the whole time.
You didn't have to text. Like, me and my friend was just talking about this. Like, you do not have to text me, "Good morning, beautiful. How you doing today?" Like, you don't gotta do that because we're gonna do whatever I want to do or don't want to do. So all the extra stuff is unnecessary. Like, if you don't mean that, or if you're not really invested in the words you're saying to me, just save the characters. Like, don't even send it.
I also believe too, another responsible thing you need to do when you're casually dating, and fellas, I know this is going to be hard, and I know I'm going against the grain when I say this, but try just sleeping with one person. If you have 1 or 2, 3 or 4, I don't know, sleep with one person.
The better thing would say is just to have safe sex, because and I know, and per dating is hanging out with different
Right,
people. So if
right,
you're
right.
dating and having sex with this, just be safe
But see,
because
and that's why I try to say, be I think it's just best, like you said, all the different energies you got. If you, because that could start to wear on you. You get what I'm saying? Like
of
I,
course.
I've tried that in my younger days, dating multiple people, and it's tiring. It's very tiring. It's exhausting. I really don't see the point of it. I mean, I understand you might want to keep your doors open, but once you kind of start sleeping with one person and then you start sleeping with two or three other, then that's when all that confusion and drama comes into it. And
Oh,
that's
always,
that's really what I'm speaking
always.
to, is just the peace. Like if you want to maintain your peace, it's best if you just sleep with one person. And you get what I'm saying? If you still got these multiple people you're dating, you know, I'm not saying things will happen from time to time, but just just keep it with one until you figure out like if you really want to be with that one, because I'm pretty sure if you only sleeping with that one person, the other two or three, they're not even going to
So
make it.
basically, you want men to go back to courting, is what you would like.
Yes, because I
You don't
think it
want us
would.
to date anymore. You want men to court the
Yes,
women.
because it would bring a lot of peace. It would stop a lot of drama.
Of
Um,
course, a lot of
or and a lot of
broken
oops
homes.
babies. That's another thing. Yeah,
A
oops. Yeah,
lot of
oops.
there won't be that many broken
Right,
homes,
right,
emotionally damaged men and
right,
women. We
right,
can go further,
right.
but most definitely.
All right. So what's the next one? Ah, so if a love child is created through dating, how does that change your love life? And what if your partner isn't prepared for a child, meaning the person you were dating? So again, if you were out there just having casual sex, you get pregnant, they say, Candace, I don't want it. I don't want the baby. But you do. What do you do in that situation?
I'm gonna keep my baby.
No, 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 no. I know that. But do you then, because of the dating, the casual dating, do you go after him, or do you expect him, or is there like a communication there, or
So
trying
I
to
have two
communicate?
different feelings
Okay.
because I had a child with the person that I should not have had a child with, and I accepted all responsibilities as a single parent the moment I conceived.
Okay.
However, I could see how women, if they keep their child, they would seek out the dad to be a dad. Because just as much as she is responsible for her pregnancy, so is the dad. If you didn't want a baby, you should have worn a condom because that's most likely the only way the person got pregnant. You should have worn a condom. Um, so yes, you should be held accountable because you are the dad. If you didn't want the baby, you should have worn a condom. I have very strong feelings that if you don't want a baby, you should wear. I mean, I have actually like stopped right in the midst, like you don't want a condom, or you better go get one. Like
Right.
like I feel that strongly about
Right.
if you are having unprotected sex, you know what can happen from that, and that means that you're ready to be responsible for the outcome. That's
What
just
if it?
my
Right.
feeling.
I was gonna say, what if it was a mistake? Like, meaning like the condom popped, or the birth control was well, you said protected. So I'm assuming the only potential thing that could happen is the condom popping if you're protecting yourself. Um, does it make does it changes things? Because if y'all communicated in the beginning while you were casually just dating, and he was like, or he said he didn't either want children, or he wasn't prepared for children, or y'all was moving too fast, or whatever.
That's a tough question, and my personal beliefs just may be different from someone else's, but I would still keep my child and just not expect the dad to be a part of it. If it pops and then it was like shit, we both didn't mean for this to happen.
Right.
And if it was that, but if it was just we did it and you knew you ain't had no condom on, like that's something different.
Right.
But I would
And
just
I can
keep my
respect that.
baby,
Right. And I can
and
respect
then
that.
I would just not expect you to be present unless you want to, because and as a man, you should want to, regardless of if you were ready or not ready. It happened, and I feel like you would at some point want to be a part of your child's life.
Okay, so I have mixed feelings about it as well. I think in the scenario where if the two were just out here not using protection and the baby happened, and the mother wants to keep it, by all means, the dad should be held accountable for the situation because, again, like you said, it takes two.
Right.
The only scenario that I could find it being tricky is the condom situation, because even in the birth control, and I had to realize this myself, even with faulty birth control, you still should be using protection.
Right.
Especially if you're just casually dating the person. Like, I can understand a woman telling you, hey, I'm on birth control. Look, I got the thing in my arm. Look, I got the pill. Right. It's like you still should take the precautions, because at the end of the day, like you said, shit happens. It can go south very, very fast.
Right.
That was a similar situation for myself. And everybody used to say, like, well, why you didn't do this? And for a while, I was upset about it. But at the end of the day, they were right. Like, I still had the option to protect myself. And I knew that me and this person were only just dating. And I should have exercised that precaution. Again, like I said, I'm grateful for my son. But, yes, when you're out here dating and you're just out here doing whatever, please protect yourself. I don't care what she say, what she on, what you feeling.
And not even babies are one thing, but there are a lot of
diseases, yes,
out here in young. I mean, I see kids that come into the hospital with HIV and STDs at 15, 16 years old. So babies, if you choose to not continue the pregnancy, that's one thing, but some diseases you can't get rid of.
That's true. You definitely have that. And it's crazy because I had a conversation a long time ago with a friend who was having some issues with a girl he was dating. The first question he asked me, he was like, yo, when the last time a girl actually wear a condom? I'm like, well, because of the situation with my son, I just, started being more responsible and protecting myself because I didn't want to make another oops baby. And I was like, I have been in situations where women have asked me to take it off, but it's like, no, I'm not taking this
afraid. Off. I'm paranoid. I'm like, are you sure? Let me see it. Let me make sure.
But yeah, he was just like, man, I think I'm gonna cut this girl off because she's like been asking me to take the joint off, and I don't feel comfortable doing that because he had a lot to lose at that time. The person I'm talking about, he had a lot in his life going on as well as success wise. So it was like he wasn't really trying to again put himself in a position where he had a child. And he was like, I really like her, but I'm not trying to have no kids right now. And she like really gets upset that I won't take the condom off. And I just told him, bro, you just gotta stick with your guns, and maybe you just gotta cut that person off.
I had someone tell me, a male, I always be like, yo, you need to wear a condom. Like, you gonna get something that you can't get rid of. He was like, what? He was like, yo, women that want to wear condoms, I feel like they're weird because no one wears condoms. And I'm just sitting looking like, you gotta hope I don't tell you, like, let's go to Chase Braxton and get tested together right now before anything. Because I'm one of them. Like, I'm one, like, let's go. They do free, rapid testing right now. Just because I don't think people understand until they see it. Like, when you actually can see it, numbers and people and actual visualize, like, damn, this could be me. I don't play like that, and I think that no one should play like that at all, because that's really what you're doing. You're playing with your life, literally.
You definitely are. Like I said, my son slowed me down a lot before my relationship. I just made sure I was protected because, again, I didn't want to have another broken home.
Right.
So that was my goal, and that probably could save me from catching something. Who knows?
Right.
So let's move on to the next one. This one was interesting too. should we even date people who aren't
No,
financially stable, or you aren't financially stable?
no.
But like you said, we're human. We want that companionship. I mean,
But how you gonna take?
I dated when I was broke. I ain't gonna hold you. You feel me? I've been
But
in situations where it was
I
like,
feel like how financially unstable are you? Are you? And there's nothing wrong with what I'm about to say, but are you doing Lyft and Instacart all day, financially unstable, or do you just have a few bills you behind on? Because I feel like they're two different things.
definitely.
For me
Yeah, you're right.
personally, my friend and I were talking about this the other day, yesterday. I need someone with some sort of 9 to 5. Like you have to have some consistent income. You don't have to be able to buy me Louis and Prada and this, but you gotta have a consistent income with some benefits. Not just saying we're about to get married, but just for yourself. Like that is important to me. And I think that it depends on what type of financial stability we're talking about. But I think like if you live in paycheck to paycheck and you really can't meet make ends meet, you don't need to date. But if you just they can't take me out next week, but the next week we can have a date night like every other week, that's one thing. But if you live in paycheck to paycheck and you really don't got it, you should be focusing on trying to get it.
Well, see, and the interesting thing for me is, and I don't know if this is just because I've gotten older, but I felt like when I was dating in my early 20s, it wasn't like a pressure to be financially stable. Um, Women were just happy with certain things as long as you was like, what's the word I'm looking for? As long as you put like effort into it. Some women enjoyed that, and I think at some point, like I was just telling somebody today about like we was talking at work. One of the people I work with at Walmart, we were talking about dating, and I said, "Well, what's the most expensive date you ever went on?" She was like, "Oh, my husband took me to this fancy restaurant, and it was like $80." And I was like, like I laughed, and she like, "What's so funny?" I'm like, "That's I spent that on myself."
Right. So I
Uh,
was gonna say before I forget, you have to also date in your bracket. Like that is a true thing. You have to date
in your text, yeah,
in your
yeah,
bracket, and that's the
yeah.
reality of it. So to her, that
But
is
women don't feel like
probably
that though.
hmm.
Women don't. You talking about as far as men?
I
Because women don't stay in there. And I hate to go to Kevin Samuels, but certain women, most women feel like they can get.
well, I was a Kevin Samuels fan, so
Okay, good.
I,
So most,
no, I like I said, we should date on our level
right?
unless the man is really seeking us out to say like, oh hey, I really want you. But if I see this man, I mean, of course I may want him because he looked appealing, hopping out the Range Rover and doing this and that. But no, I feel like we should be comfortable dating within our means, our own means as well.
I no, I feel you on that. Because like when the old lady at work said $80, I'm like, how? But you got to think she come from a different time where $80 was like a lot of money.
Right.
So for her, $80 is expensive, and I think they went to Applebee's or something like that. But it got me thinking, like, yo, the average date, like, me and my girl just went to what was that, Kanoko's? That was like 175.
Right. My thing is,
Uh,
I don't want you to buy me a Louis Vuitton purse for Christmas and I buy you some cologne. Like, that's not fair. We got to
yeah,
be on the same level. Like,
that's
we
not, yeah,
got to
that
be
ain't it.
around the same, you know, like,
Right.
not, I mean, I hope that, right. So, yeah, I think realistically, though, some of those men that are up here, they want their woman to be up here also.
Exactly.
Um, I don't get me wrong, I'm still going to shoot for the stars, but I'm just saying, realistically, I think we all just have to
I'm
know.
hoping he responds to you one day.
Who?
You know what I'm talking about. Your celebrity. I'm hoping.
You talking about CD?
Yeah.
Why'd you say this?
You never know.
Listen, I just need to be in the area where he at.
I think you tweet at him at least once a day?
Don't do that. 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 I love Chris Brown. Chris Brown,
I know
if
you do.
see this baby, come to Baltimore.
He might. You never know.
If you see, I'm waiting. I'm ready and waiting.
So yes, I agree that you should have some, especially in this day and era now, because it seems like a lot of people, and don't get me wrong, I understand wanting stability, but a lot of times it seems like people just want to date for materialistic reasons.
Of course.
So I feel like for some men, it puts the pressure of being financially stable on them, because a lot of women nowadays aren't, like I said, back in the day, I could take a girl to Fridays, spend $60, and she was happy. Now, shit, my girl don't even like Fridays. Like, we got to go somewhere nice. Not nice. It don't have to be extremely nice, but I just know on average, they're like 120, 150, 175. The most I've probably paid is $250.
I just also think, like I said, I think it depends on the person. For me, you don't have to be rich, but it needs to be consistent.
Right.
And you also shouldn't have to break the bank to take me out. Like, you shouldn't have to like put money aside this week and next week just to take me out. Oh my gosh.
What?
The basketball tickets
Oh,
on Afterpay.
I was going to ask you if you wanted to talk about that. I wasn't sure if you wanted to talk about that, because I was definitely going to ask you, because that's kind of where the question stems from.
Oh, so you were talking about me?
Not talking about you, but I thought about the Afterpay thing. I was like, yo really bought some tickets on Afterpay.
I sent him his money back, and he's gonna send it back and say, "Don't worry about it, champ." No, you were worried.
Yeah,
You were definitely worried. You were definitely worried. But you can't do that. And like shit like that, like don't Afterpay me some tickets. That means you can't afford it. We didn't have to go.
I ain't gonna hold you. When he did it though, I was like, dang, he must got some cheese. Like,
that's what I thought too, until I realized. Because remember I tweeted, I was like, you want your payment back. And even with dating, I can change my mind, like I did.
Yeah, you can.
And I think you should have just, as a man, accepted that I did and not ask me for your first payment back. We had fun as shit. Me and Dominique was in up again. I had fun as shit at that game.
That's definitely wicked. I didn't even know you could buy tickets on Afterpay.
I had fun. I enjoyed the ticket. So thank you if you see this.
Oh, you know he blocks you. He's
no, I blocked him first. You know how I do.
Yeah.
He's blocked, but just in case,
I'm gonna get you a trophy for that shit.
I blocked him. You text him, block. Don't even know what the fuck you said. But now you got to hurry up and do it from your watch, because it still come through your watch. So I got to hurry up and block them on here too.
All right. So this question you put in here: are side chicks and side men accountable for ruining society?
Yes. Because women are okay with being, it's like a thing. It's a cool,
Love and hip hop made it a
thing.
thing. That's why I blame Love and hip hop. They made it a thing.
It's a thing. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not this side chick. You got a girlfriend, leave me alone. We don't need to talk. You don't need to be in my DM.
But they always been around. They've always
but I'm not been around. But I'm not. You're right, but that's why women need to stop being them and men need to stop being them, because men are them too.
Yes, I was one a long time ago.
But that's why we need to stop and respect people's relationships, because it don't feel good when it's you. Like when it comes out and you find out, that shit don't feel good.
I definitely can say my experience with that. it definitely like plagued my mind once I got in my own relationship because I got to see the tricks and games. Like one girl would, I hope she's not watching it. She would order her stuff like online at Walmart. Tell dude I'm going out here to get the stuff. Come see me, and then go pick the stuff up and don't run some other errands, and then it just appeared she was out the whole time.
Right.
So then when I got into a relationship, she
Now,
was like,
your
I'm going to
girlfriend
Walmart. Yeah,
going,
I'm coming.
I'm
Yeah,
coming with you.
I'm coming
Because
with you.
Like,
Right.
let's
So
get
it's
this
like,
baby. We all
yeah,
go.
so it's like that's what being the side person can do. It definitely can plague your mind because I ain't gonna stunt. Women, y'all, yeah. When it come to cheating, we ain't got shit on women.
Yeah,
Because some of the games I got to see.
I truly believe in karma. I believe what you put out, you getting back, and best to believe they getting it back. They somewhere shaking crime right now because that nigga is cheating on them. Like I
Facts.
just don't play that karma thing. So please do not come in my DM if you got a girlfriend because I'm gonna send you away each time. I'm not it. Don't like my stuff. Don't fire emoji me. Don't heart eye me because I find that to be disrespectful. And y'all know it's disrespectful. Y'all as a men, not, but it's not okay.
I mean, women do it too.
And I don't do it. If I know you got a girlfriend, except for the one, the celebrity one, I'm not going to be liking all your pictures. And I'm very very conscious of who I like, what I like. And if I do like a man picture that got a girlfriend, it's not about to be you with your shirt off or something. It's gonna be you and your girlfriend out having a good time and like, oh, look at that beautiful black love. Like, I'm just not gonna be the side chick. I'm sorry, I'm just not.
Nah, and I understand that, like, because at the time when I did it, it was for benefit because I was experiencing situations where I would be honest and people would want more, and then I got tired of that. So I was like, maybe if I had somebody that was already in something, it wouldn't be like this. So when I did it, it just made dating other people's a lot easier because it's like, well, you can't complain about what I'm doing because you got somebody to go home to. That's how I looked at it. And I think for some people, it depends on a certain time of the year you catch them. Somebody might be feeling vulnerable, or somebody might they might have always had a crush on you. And
I just don't understand when you the side chick or side nigga and you like the person, you're never gonna have them. And if you do have them, you already know the person's gonna cheat on you too. So like, what are you gaining from it besides a waste of your time?
some people, from what I've been told, some people just like the freedom. So it's like I have a consistency with this person, but I also have the freedom to just go out here and do what I want.
Yeah, I just feel like we should hold ourselves accountable and not do that because
No,
we're
facts.
ultimately still fucking up homes and children and families and women and men. You know, I think that we should
Yeah, yeah, Mel, you're right.
be in
That's
control.
vulnerability. Yeah,
It
yeah,
is.
no, and that's what I said. Like back in the day, it wasn't like that. We couldn't just be out here.
Doing Instagram. You can meet niggas in fucking London. I can fly to London right now, all from some buttons, just from some
Right.
buttons. So, no, it's hard out here.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. We have a lot more access to people. It's people I would have never known even existed if it wasn't for this
Right. I
app.
mean, I'm glad to see some of them, but then they be having girlfriends. I'm like, shit, I wish I would have never saw you, nigga. I wish you never came past my page.
That's funny. Well, that's all the questions for the day. Plus, this thing about to close out anyway. We've been here for an hour. You know how this
So
app is.
make sure your followers wrap it up. Don't
Yeah, so
cheat. Date one person.
definitely take your time. And if you are dating, just like I said, be upfront. Just be honest. It'll get you a lot further than lying will, because if you get caught up, you don't know what's going to set somebody off.
Right.
Next thing you know, you go outside, all your tires and windows busted, or
You got
your
red lipstick on your car or some shit. Your shoes and got clothes and got bleached on them or something. You never know.
Right. That's the advice I would give. Just be completely honest with your partners, and just know the difference between courting and dating. If you're courting, that means you try to be exclusive. You're not even concerned with nobody else. And if you're dating, again, just let everybody know what's up, so no one's time is wasted, because you can't get that back.
Right. Well, I mean, I hope 2023 brings all of us single people some love and some dates.
You know they got dating apps, so
I don't even have the patience for that. Come on, you know the Capricorn in me don't even have the patience for that.
True.
I don't even. I'll download it. I'll delete it. Not even just delete the app. Delete my profile. Take it away. I don't want it.
What you use?
You all in my business, and I don't like that.
I mean, that plays a part.
All of them.
No, not Tinder. I hope not Tinder.
No, not Tinder.
All right.
It's like
we know what that one is.
I'm just about to go outside. I'm about to get outside. I'm about to
venture out,
spread my wings and just be outside a little bit.
Yeah, come up to Walmart. I got some people up there.
I told you, if you watching, you know the one I said. It wasn't.
Oh, it wasn't the one I sent you. Okay.
Mm-mm. I'm coming.
I don't know who that is.
Back on 40.
Hey, don't.
My daughter.
Don't be telling people where I'm at.
I'm sorry, but if my daughter wasn't with me, I don't mind shooting my shot, but she was.
You should have.
I had to be a mom. She was like that. She was like, "Damn, come on."
Mama gotta have a life too.
Yeah. Jody. Damn right.
That's 2 baby boy references for the night. Way too many.
I should probably watch. We should watch that.
I want to dissect that movie, to be real with you.
No, it's a lot.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot in that movie. It's some movies I really want to go back and be like, okay, we was wrong about this whole thing. Like A Thin Line Between Love and Hate. Martin was wrong. Like, for the longest time, I thought that Shorty was crazy, but I realized, like, yo, she kept telling you, like, yo, if you're not trying to take me serious and you play with me, I'm going to kill you. She kept saying that in so many words.
What did she? We be telling y'all niggas, stop playing with us, because it's going to be up and stuck.
It definitely was up and stuck with her.
Right.
But, like, he was doing the most. Bro was bringing her flowers, putting crystals at her job. Like, I was thinking, like, yo, why wouldn't she think you? Of course you must want to.
But that's literally the time. So it goes to show you, like, these behaviors has just been forever. It's just gotten to a point. It's on the Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, that. It's just everywhere now.
That's a valid point, because, again, it goes back to dating and intentions. What he was doing was considered courting. That's courting. What he was doing was courting.
Well, I'm
head on out.
Let somebody court me. I'm gonna find someone to be courted by. It's been nice talking to you.
I think this gonna be a year.
This gonna be my year, because I'm healed. I'm signed, sealed, and delivered.
I'm just saying, if that phone rang 3 times, don't hit him over the head.
I was like, what? Who was that?
You would do that.
Who's that? Definitely would. All right, Tony. Be safe. Nice chatting. All right.
Good night.
All right.